Coming up after 2 o'clock, we're going to have Roger Bailey. He is the attorney for the... Excuse me. Roger Bailey is the attorney in the civil lawsuit that Palisades residents have filed against the city of Los Angeles and the DWP. And now, get this, the city of Los Angeles is now suing the state of California over the Palisades Fire. Yeah. While the obviously much of the fault for the fire rests with Karen Bass and Janice Quinones of the DWP and decisions made by fire officials, the state is heavily involved in this as well. It started on state land. And it was supposedly the state employees from the Department of Parks and Recreation who interfered with the Los Angeles Fire Department when they were trying to put out the original fire. So the city of L.A. knows it's going to lose and lose very badly. And they want the damages to be spread out. They don't want to have to pay for everything. So they're suing the state of California. Of course, Newsom has always denied the state had any responsibility, and of course, he's lying. And so the way I read this is just fantastic. Because now Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom are going to have to devour each other, trying to prove who's more at fault for this disaster. Because clearly, there's no possible way to spin this anymore. And I don't see anybody trying. Now, on Karen Bass, again, this isn't going away, at least not here on our show. She lied and tried to cover up the cause of the fire, her responsibility for the fire. And when the after-action report came out, it was so bland. It was like reading oatmeal. Clearly, she had it rewritten. She either did it herself or she ordered people to do it, had to approve of it. And she's denying it. But the question remains, if it wasn't her, then why doesn't she tell us who rewrote it? There are 6 drafts. So who wrote it? Same thing Ronnie Villanueva, who apparently has lost his ability to speak, the interim fire chief. Bass, according to the LA Times report, consulted with him. And then you have the new stooge, Jaime Moore, the current fire chief, who tells everybody, well, what are you going to do with that information? You're just going to point fingers, point blame. Yes, that's what we want to do. You got it. So why don't you spill? Tell us who ordered it. If it wasn't Karen Bass, why isn't Karen Bass telling me who made the changes? Now, NBC reporter, get clip number 2 ready. NBC reporter Conan Nolan had Bass's first on-camera response to the report, which leads into what the mayor's race is looking like. I thought the deadline was today. That's what most news stories had said. And then I saw a story yesterday that claimed that the deadline was tomorrow to enter the mayor's race. So the final field is not set yet. But listen to Conan Nolan's report, NBC4.
What would be the purpose of covering up a report that I ordered?
A frustrated Mayor Karen Bass responding forcefully to an explosive report in the Los Angeles Times that she had altered an after-action report on the Palisades fire in order to shield the city from litigation.
It was completely fabricated. And by the way, who are the sources?
The Times story is based on 2 unnamed sources who did not directly hear Bass discuss the fire response assessment. The paper claims their sources were reciting what they had heard from 2 others within the mayor's office. All of the sources are anonymous.
Facts were not changed in the report. What was changed was the verbiage that was used to describe it.
Last month, Fire Chief Jaime Moore admitted that prior to his arrival, changes had been made to the Palisades after-action report, but not to definitive facts. response. But as to who could be blamed for failures in staffing and pre-deployment prior to record wins. Meanwhile, the field in this year's race for mayor widened today and narrowed. LA education software entrepreneur Adam Miller announced his candidacy for the job, and LA County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath says she's seriously considering a run. Horvath has criticized the city's response to the Palisades Fire, which she represents.
From the moment the fire broke out, I immediately texted the mayor offering our assistance and offering to work collaboratively. Her response hours later was, I think we're good. So obviously it turned out we weren't good. We weren't even close to good. And sort of closing people off and shutting them out is not what leadership is.
I have no response to the supervisor. Look forward to continuing working with her on a variety of issues, as we already do.
And today, former LA Unified Superintendent Austin Butner announced in a statement that he is leaving the race for mayor following the sudden death of his 22-year-old daughter, writing, "Our family has experienced the unimaginable loss of our beloved daughter, Emily. She was a magical person, the light of our lives. We are still in mourning. Family has always come first for me. That is where I need to be at this time."
That is Colin Nolan from NBC4. Could you play that opening quote that he had from Karen Bass? Because this is a doozy. Could you go?
What would be the purpose of covering up a report that I ordered?
A frustrated Mayor
All
Karen
right, stop. What would be the purpose of covering up a report that I ordered? She thinks she's so slick. You're covering it up because the report that you ordered made you look responsible. And you're running for mayor, and you don't want that look in an official report. That's not a good campaign ad if it's used against you or when it's used against you. So that's why. I love her fake outrage routine. I study the tricks that these political losers use. And her trick is to be incredulous. It's like, why would I do that? Why would somebody say that? How could you think that? Every time she's in a pickle, she pulls the same act. Well, I just can't believe that. How could you say that? Why would I do that? Why would you? You would do that because you read the report and it told too much of the truth. The battalion chief who wrote the report disowned it, took his name off it. Why? Because facts, quote unquote, were changed or distorted or omitted, erased. It had to be the facts that made you look bad. I don't know how worse you could look, but maybe you don't want to see it in print. In fact, the worst part of it is stuff that might not even be in the report. It starts with you ignoring days of multiple extreme warnings from the National Weather Service over fire and wind danger, and you going to Africa anyway. And it's you defunding the fire department. And it's the fire officials feeling like they had to not send a full crew up to put out the Lockman fire and not deploy firefighters the night before and not keep firefighters on a second shift the day of because you didn't give them enough money to get by. And I guess they got hammered a lot for overspending. You know, they've got thousands of homeless fires to put out every day. That costs a lot of money. You can't take any money away from that budget, the homeless fire budget, because you let insane people live in the streets. Drug addicts live in the streets. How could somebody say that? Why would I? Because you're only interested in you. You're only interested in having your body up on stage for the Olympics in 2028. That's your only purpose in life. Being a good sociopath, a communist sociopath at that, you don't care what happens to the people's lives in the Palisades. You didn't care when you got on the plane to Africa. I was looking at the photos of you drinking with all these officials in Ghana. They had a good time. Couldn't tell what you were drinking, but you had a good time. Smiling, sitting on a couch. Yeah. And meantime, people back home are getting their lives destroyed, and you erased all the text messages. Gee, I don't know. Why would you possibly alter a report? What would be the motivation? Now, I don't know who the hell is going to replace you right now. But that's what the campaign's for. We'll see. I can't believe any living human being would vote for her no matter what the competition is.